Hello everyone watching at home, you're with Adelaide Eternal bringing you our Christmas Classic event. This is an Adelaide Eternal format, Classic, and it's all about powerful, degenerate strategies, all keeping each other in balance, whilst also not having any shuffling. And when you can't shuffle, suddenly matches are extremely fast. So we're going to probably see one of them right now. I'm Sarven McLinton, and I'm in the booth here with Brendan Dobson.
Hi there.
I am in this match, and I know that it's a fast one. I'm on the left. It's two very fast decks.
Sarven here is a mainstay of the Adelaide Eternal format. He organises a lot of the stuff that happens. He's got 19 top 8s, 2 vintage wins, 3 legacy wins, and a Highlander win. He really enjoys the tempo and control sort of decks, and typically, if you can play Brainstorm, he plays it.
I'm breaking my rule, and I'm on red, white, Hatebears. I'm on no Brainstorm. I don't know. It's probably incorrect. So if you haven't seen this deck in action, check out round 4. That one was a real breakneck speed tutorial on how red, white, Hatebears works. But it's basically the combination of really, really powerful single Hatebears like Thalia to tax, Spirit of the Labyrinth to prevent Yawgmoth's Bargain draws and the like, and Skull Clamp draws, and Aethersworn Canonist to stop Storm. And simultaneously, you've got red in there for Magus of the Moon to shut out the greedy mana bases, and Simian Spirit Guide to power out your 2-drop Hatebear on turn 1, which is a really critical turn when you are on the draw. So if you want to check out more about the list, watch round 4. Now we'll bring you round 5. I am up against Michael Lowe, who is on Affinity. Michael and I'm undefeated. Michael is 3-1. So this is the finals. It's the final round, and it's the final one to see who clinches the title of Adelaide Eternal Classic Champion. We have one might say, a bad matchup for me if Affinity goes broken, and it can, because you've got a whole bunch of artifacts that get to power out an Arcbound Ravager, which then sacks the artifacts to put them onto the Walking Ballista, which then shoots you to kill you. And also, did I mention that Disciple of the Vault was out? So you lost 1 life for every single one of those interactions. And, oh, by the way, if you don't have a Ravager to sack to, you can just put a Skull Clamp on everything and draw 2 cards, and then play more dudes and draw more cards. If you want to see that interaction, you can see that one, I think, in round 3. And Michael was performing really, really well today in terms of the power of this deck. It is really, really good, and he's been playing it well as well. So maybe let's go down to the match and see how it turns out. So we've both shuffled, we've presented decks, we're cutting and rolling dice, and I'm on 8. So slightly above average. 6. Okay.
Better than 6?
Yeah, that's right. So being on the play, I feel like being on the play favours Affinity more than me marginally, but I do want to be early. The thing is, for me, I'm a fair deck, so like I'm sure I'm taxing people's mana and stuff, but Thalia doesn't do much to him. And so Mother of Runes and Kataki War's Wage and Caracas. So if ever there was a 7-card hand that I would snap keep against Affinity, it is this hand. You will note that the night before the tournament, I was saying how I built this like 24 hours before because I was getting wrecked by Death and Taxes with all the decks I built. And I'm like, okay, we can't beat them, join them. So I joined them, and I was like, you know what? I expect people to be on lots and lots of, degenerate strategies. And degenerate strategies almost always involve artifacts. So I want to jam 3 Kataki War's Wage into my 75. And that I did. And the rest is history.
I had to double look at your list there because I was like,
it's a sideboard card.
Why is there a Kataki in there? Main deck? What's going on?
Yeah, I had a 60th card. So the 59 was like set. Every time I tested it, it just came out that I wanted 3 Aethersworn Canonists in the main, and like all the other numbers were just exactly what I wanted. And so on my 60th card, I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, I want to play 3 Kataki, but I can't fit 3 in the sideboard. Okay, I'll play 1 Kataki in the main. Sure, it's a non-bow with my Skull Clamp and my Aether Vial and so on, but usually if I have an Aether Vial out and I have a Kataki out, if I have a Skull Clamp out, I'm usually clamping Kataki. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, 60th card ends up popping up in my opening 7. So I think I thank the magic gods
In
there.
the matchups where it's the most relevant.
It's really, really good. But Michael is on a mull and he's found Lotus Petal on top, which is scryed to the bottom. He is on the draw though, so it will be fixed. And my Mother of Runes turn 1 is an anemic play against a deck that only has one coloured creature, which is Vault Scourge, which flies.
However, it is if he has Dispatch, which he does run main
Dispatch,
deck,
yeah.
then you can protect it with your Kataki. You can protect your Kataki.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, Dispatch. I'd forgotten about that. I was like, maybe this is Clamp Fodder. I don't know.
So he's played no land, Mox Lotus Petal. I feel like that's almost the worst opening turn you can have against a Kataki.
Turn. And his hand is like bunch of equipment, Skull Clamp, Jitter, and some other stuff. Like, I'm like, do I just play it? Yeah, just jam it.
Yeah, that seems unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Like, it would have been unfortunate if he played a...
He can't even use Mox Opal to tap for mana.
Yeah, I explained that to him. I was like, yeah, this doesn't really tap for mana, so...
He could have sacked Lotus Petal to keep it.
Sack Lotus Petal to keep Mox Opal, I guess, yeah, you could do that and then try and power something out this turn.
Yeah.
But it feels bad because he knew that he didn't have anything to deploy this turn, and the only thing he top decked was Ancient Den, which doesn't feel great. So he's going to spend each turn building up 1 mana. Play a land, pay for it, play a land, pay for it, until he can try and break that with an Ancient Tomb, because Ancient Tomb is what he's looking for here. I have a Caracas here, and I don't want to tap off Caracas when I have Kataki. So I just play Spirit here as just a beater, and I keep Mother of Runes open for exactly what you said, yeah, protection. I don't know what removal he has, so I'm just like, just keep this open for protection. If, you know when you're like really far ahead and you play not to punt? So I'm like, how do I lose this game?
Yeah.
Probably some kind of spot removal on Kataki. Okay, just attack for 2.
So now you've got double protection.
Double protection. Yeah. Caracas and Mother of Runes.
Seems necessary against a deck with 2 removal spells.
Yeah, that's right. So he's deployed Mox Opal and then cast Thought Cast. And I'm like, don't draw any cards. I've got Spirit of the Lab. And he's like, oh, why did I do that? I'm like, don't worry about it. Just untap. I don't know. He was
How
like...
did he even play Thought Cast? Isn't it 5?
Yeah, we were like, there's a couple of mistakes. Don't worry about it. We'll just go back. So we just fix that up, rewind it, and
that definitely is one of the good things about Adelaide Eternal. We tend to not take things too seriously, and if people are still learning and stuff like that, we like the player base is quite forgiving.
Yeah, especially when you're playing, and this is the finals. So like whoever wins this is the champion. So for me, like. I just assume I want my opponent to be playing optimally. So if they make just a minor error, I prefer if they just take it back. Like it's better that way because it feels, like a deserved. I wouldn't want to win on the back of someone's mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, and speaking of ways to get out of this situation, he's drawn exactly what we were saying before, which is Ancient Tomb, and that's a non-artifact way of paying for 2 of his sources. So
it does let him start to cast things. However, the damage taken off that is not negligible.
Yeah, yep. He's found Umezawa's Jitter, which is one means by which he can get rid of Kataki in the face of Mother of Runes, but Caracas is going to do work in that respect. It can give him a way to fade and upkeep pay and then be able to, go to his actual turn. But my Spirit of the Labyrinth here is operating as a clog, just bashing for 3 huge life total chunks. I deploy this mum solely as a way to present lethal next turn.
I especially like how they're different arts, Sarven.
Yeah,
that was really good.
It's so bad, right? Like you can tell that I'm a Brainstorm player. All of my arts on these are mismatched because I just couldn't find them. I was like, shout outs to my partner Jen who loaned me a number of cards for this deck because I didn't own them. I literally do not own a 4th Mother of Runes. I've got 1 Urza's Saga foil, 1 F&M foil, 1 EMA non-foil pulled from a pack, and then I had to borrow her original Mother of Runes from Urza's Destiny or whatever it was, Legacy. My deck is like both beautiful and ugly at the same time. you know that Brutti Bene, like the really ugly looking chocolate sweets that look like a turd. That's what my deck is. It looks like a turd, but it looks so good as well. There's a single foil original printing Magus of the Moon, 2 non-foil printings. Yeah, I don't play Death and Taxes, so I really scrounged hard for these. I didn't want to play with any proxies, so I was like, I need to find these cards. Ends of the earth to try and finish play sets of things, and they're all mismatched. I got 1 foil Thalia, 3 non-foil mismatched.
Whereas, like, in comparison, I will have, like, I own Legacy Elves, and instead I will play with all proxies.
Yeah, solely so that you play the correct art. I respect that. I respect the correct art.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah. So we're looking at the sideboard in here, and I've got a pile of cards. You see the big stack there? I believe I'm bringing in 9 cards.
Jeez.
So
Stony Silence, 2 more Katakis, 2 more Revokers.
Yep. Also
Pontiff, Jitte, Council's Judgment.
Council's Judgment, just because it's a removal spell and I've got worse cards to take
and
out.
Gideon.
And I think I bring in Gideon. I can't remember. I think I have bad enough cards that they come out, like Aethersworn Canonist. There's 3 slots that you just take out. Like, you don't want them.
No, that's fair.
And even things like Mother of Runes aren't great.
No, because they play so many colours.
Exactly. So I have so many dead cards that sometimes you just want to play. Like, oh, here we go. Yeah, exactly what we're saying. So I didn't bring in Gideon. I bring in 8 cards. Yeah, 8 cards. But then 3 Magus of the Moon, 3 Aethersworn, 1 Skullclamp, 1 Spirit of the Labyrinth, 1 Mother of Runes. So I made a split on the last 3 simply because I was like, I can't make a decision, and I don't want to go and waste people's time. So I'm just gonna take out 1 of each of the cards I think is bad, rather than take out 3 of the card that is bad,
and then be stuck with
3
copies
other ones.
in one day.
Yeah. So like, it's probably not correct. So please don't identical copy what I sideboarded there. But I know that 3 Magus out, 3 Aethersworn out, and 1 Mum out is definitely correct. But whether the 1 Skullclamp and the 1 Spirit out is correct, I'm not sure. And in retrospect, I think the Spirit out is incorrect, because now I realise that he's on 4 Skullclamp and he's on 4 Thoughtcast. And he's got many. Once he gets 1 clamp, that's going to be a huge source of draw. So I think I should have just taken out a 2nd clamp and played the additional Spirit, because I'm not going to clamp in this game because all of the rest of my Hatebears are good against him.
So for Michael, I think he'd probably bring in Dispatch, maybe Fragmentize, Aether Grid, and Whipflare.
Yep, I totally agree. I think
probably not as much to bring in, unfortunately.
If he resolves 1 of those, I'm wrecked. Like, if he resolves Aether Grid, I actually have very few, if any, answers to it aside from Council's Judgmenting it away.
Especially
and by the time I do, he's won.
All of your creatures are X1s.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like, really scary. And it's one of his best ways to kill Kataki.
Yeah, no, definitely.
He's got Whip Flare, and he's got multiple Lotus Petals and a Mox Opal. He's got a really good hand, explosive hand. My hand is terrible. 3 Wasteland, 1 Rishadan Port, but it has Kataki and Ether Vial. So I really and err about this hand because I have no coloured source. But if I deploy Ether Vial turn 1, I can deploy Kataki turn 3, and I am on the draw, so Kataki is still going to be a Wrath effect. So it's not good, but it's a risk I'm willing to take.
The other thing is that because you get double Wasteland, you can go Wasteland Vial,
and then play second Wasteland.
Wasteland.
And that was totally my intent in keeping this risky hand. That's why my suspect gesture. But the problem is he ended up deploying no additional lands. He just like Lotus Petals and Mox Opal, and I'm like, I've lost this game.
You see, that's so powerful.
Yeah,
like fast and just comes out.
Exactly. Yeah, like his he's able to, and I'm like, please land, no, Flicker Wisp, because the odds that I draw second land in 2 draw steps is a 66% chance, right? So it's still, I felt like it was a decent risk to take, even though it's an iffy keep. And if you are ready to see me get blown out, welcome to Blowoutsville. Fragmentize my ether vial.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now you can see like my heart absolutely sunk at that point, and I'm like, I'm like almost at the point of being like, game 3.
He's even sacking his pedals to his Ravager.
Yeah, he's identified the line where he's just like, I'm just gonna make my guy big and just bash for as much damage as possible. I draw him as I was Jitter. My hand is so good against him, except for the fact that I don't have a coloured source. And
he killed your only way of putting
and he killed my only way
into play.
And so that was my second draw step. And like I said, I had a 66% chance of drawing a white source in the next draw steps, but I didn't draw it. So
he missed sacking his land
to
Ravager, unfortunately.
Yeah, he said, I missed. I'm like, yeah, just put the counter on.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I want to play against my opponent being optimal, so I'll just assume that he sacked it. Yeah, I didn't wastelanding thinking I'm going to catch him. I wastelanded knowing he'd put a counter on it. So I go to 15. And thankfully he hasn't been able to deploy anything else. But I'm still getting smashed in the face with a 3 power guy. But as you can see, no source of white mana in 4 draw steps. So I'm like, as soon as I do draw it, I haymaker, like windmill slam that Kataki, like it's coming out straight away.
Is that a second? No, it's plating.
Yeah, it's plating, I think, yeah. So he's bashing in for 3 again, and he doesn't want to sack his mana sources because, of course, he needs them to actually deploy the next threat, because he's worried about if I kill his Ravager, he doesn't have the ability to deploy another threat. So
still no white
source. So that's 5 draws. So I'm definitely on a very low chance of getting out of this, but like I still play there, and he hasn't deployed lands because he obviously I've got Wasteland, and he's like, well, okay, we'll start pumping this guy up, and he pays 3 and gets to deploy Girapur Ether Grid. This is like I'm so far behind now. I can't connect with the Jitter. I can't play Kataki. This is really, really bad for me, and I'm on 9. So yeah, this is a bad spot.
Yeah.
And I don't even Wasteland. Obviously, I'm like, if this is a white source, and look at the white source. Take a guess what white source it is.
It's Cavern of Souls.
Cavern of Souls. So if I name Spirit, it's the only white creature I can play. It's rough.
There is a line here that I wasn't sure whether or not you decided on, whether or not you wanted to Wasteland his land first to turn him off Mox Opal.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's
the line you take?
Definitely a line. Let's see if I do it. I'm not sure. The Wasteland, whatever I deploy here won't, I can't deploy a second thing. So my decision is like, it's like, do I deploy Kataki here because I name Spirit, or do I deploy another better card in the hand? And I end up going, I'm just going to go Spirit. Like my only way to do this is to use Kataki as a as a wrath effect, because he has to kill the Kataki. There's no way he can allow it to live. So in order to do that, he's going to lose his permanence to kill it with Ether Grid. But the problem is, Ether Grid sticks around, and it's a huge downside for me. So here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Wasteland the Seat of the Synod. So now he has to choose between preserving his Ravager, which is his 1 threat.
He can't tap Mox Opal.
Oh, you can't tap Mox Opal. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we give him only 1 choice, and the single choice that he has is to kill Kataki. And yeah, he's sacked the Seat of the Synod to the Ravager. So the Ravager is a 4/4.
What's he going to kill Kataki with?
Girapur Ether Grid.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so this is why. I'm just like,
can you do it in your untap? In his untap?
He's doing it in his upkeep, so he'll still have to pay the triggers. So what happens is he loses both of his things, but he ends up killing Kataki.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So and it's relevant because if I'm explaining to him, I'm just like, I expect Kataki's not long for this world because if I get to untap with him, I get to equip Jitter. And yeah, like you were saying, the Mox Opal doesn't tap for mana, so he has to lose the 4 counters on the Ravager. But I am on 9, and that's not an irrelevant place given that I don't have Kataki anymore. But
And
he doesn't draw
any lands that
source.
cast anything.
Yeah, and this is where I draw the planes.
Oh.
I was showing like, this is where it is. It's here. And remember how I named Spirit?
Yeah.
I can't cast anything.
So you had to hit 2 white sources.
So I have to hit 2
row.
white sources. So I had to make a choice on Spirit. So it was really, really rough, like after 5 draw steps. But I'm glad I got it, because if I didn't get it, I'm not in this game. And now I'm in this game. Keep in mind though, Girapur Ether Grid, as soon as he plays 2 artifacts, whatever I play is gone and can't equip Jitter. I explained, yeah, I can't Spirit. Mother of Runes.
Not a spirit.
And Spirit
Oh,
Labyrinth.
Spirit, oh.
Yeah, so I must have drawn that in the course of the game.
Your 2-2-2 split.
Oh yeah, it worked
paid
out.
off. Paid off.
And he didn't draw a mana source, and so now I get to equip Jitter, and I will be ahead.
Very far ahead.
Yeah, because now I can protect my Spirit from Girapur Ether Grid with Mother of Runes, and I can put counters on it so that it not counters. I give it +1, +2, +2, so it's still protected as well. Double ways to protect it from red. And so bashing in. So here's the first blood. Operation speeding up here because now we know the rest of my plays are all deterministic. Play your dudes, swing. Play your dudes, swing. If he plays a dude, kill it with Jitter.
Although you don't realise that he has Whip Flare in hand.
Yeah. That's a good point. I would need to... I'm glad I put the Jitter... Actually, it doesn't really matter, but like I'm glad that I can Jitter save one of my dudes and protection from red save another dude.
Yeah.
But I will lose everything else that I play. So there is an argument here to me slowing down and not playing anything. But I might get overconfident and just jam. I can't remember. I think
you've just done +2s. So
yep, I spent 2, 1 counter to give him +2, but I didn't want to spend all of them just in case there's
because now he's just dead on board.
Yeah, so there it is.
There you go.
And that shows you the power of Kataki. And so I guess that shows you why Hatebears is good, because or if you draw your coloured source, Hatebears is good because you've got the right thing for the right occasion and you just want to use them at the right place. So that brings... so Michael put up a good fight. He ended up coming second because this was the finals, and I went 5-0 with Red White Hatebears. So if you enjoyed my list, rock up to the next classic tournament with this, and I hope to be playing something else, probably with Brainstorm. No, I'm kidding. Brainstorm's bad in this format. Sorry. Back to the drawing board. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks to my co-host, Brendan.
See you later.